What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Other Side of the Firewall, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes
What's up? What's up?
and LeVon Maynard.
What up?
All right, so the next couple weeks will be a little bit different. As you can see, I've changed locations. I got my little baby beard going. I am on vacation.
Damn.
So for the next 3 or 4 episodes, we're gonna call it the summer schedule. It's just one episode, 1 hour long episode. So I have to do a lot of editing. I get back to the vacay. So with that being said, we're gonna go over our 2 topics as well as the rundown, and then I'll try to post this by Monday. So that way you'll get an episode every Monday from here on out. And I'll try to also mix in the Ask Us SP, but those won't be consistent. I'm not going to even lie about it. So, but without further ado, we can get into the first topic. So we skipped last week, which was kind of good because we got a little bit more information about REvil's latest cybersecurity attack, in which they've impacted Kaseya VSA. So Kaseya is a remote management and monitoring system used worldwide. In this case, it's impacting mostly the West in the hijack. It had 4 vulnerabilities at one given time. They've patched 2 of them before REvil was really able to dig their heels in. Kaseya passed a remote code execution vulnerability back in April. They passed a SQL injection vulnerability along with a local file inclusion and extended markup language external entity flaw back in May. However, there are 3 other bugs. There's a credential leak and business logic flaw, a 2-factor authentication bypass and reflective, and an authenticated cross-scripting vulnerability, of which most of these are rated like 9.9 to 10s on the common vulnerability scoring system, or CVSS. Kaseya has been working it. They've been trying to get this under control. It's impacting multiple institutions here in the States, mostly IT firms. However, who it's not impacting is Russia, the Ukraine, the Belarusian and Romanian, as well as those are the ones that are set by default, right? So if your system was set up by default with one of those languages because you were in that area, obviously it did not impact you, as well as it did not impact former Soviet bloc nations in Central Asia, Caucasus, as well as Syria. So pretty much all of Russia and their friends were not impacted by this. They've gone on the record as stating that it's not a state actor campaign. It's just REvil doing their thing. They just happen to be in that area. And of course, they don't attack the hand that feeds them or people who protect them. The administration is on it. Biden seems to be furious about it. So we see things are starting to get stepped up. They've asked Putin to put a handle on this to try to combat this. But these IT firms are still impacted. They have been impacted since the 4th of July weekend. And it seems to continue to persist. So what do you guys have to say about this?
Yeah, it seems like a big deal. I mean, it looks like it affected quite a bit of quite a bit of companies were affected. Looks like, yes, as many as 200 of the 3 affected ITs compromised. Yeah, so it's like quite a bit of a quite large area of effect. But yeah, it's like one of those things where we're getting like these companies that have, because Kaseya is like has these ties into like a lot of businesses that that we depend on in the United States, and the fact that another Russian centered organization is attacking them with this with this malware is definitely a concern. I mean, it's like another it's pretty much added to the list of vulnerabilities that we've identified over the last couple of years now. I don't know what we can say about the work that the company is doing as far as protecting their security and securing their infrastructure and the devices. I mean, it seems like maybe this was some hole that they could have maybe identified sooner. I don't know how often these teams, like security centered teams on these in these organizations, like focus around like finding these holes that they have like what do you call, like red hats or like black hat uh, uh, hackers that are trying to find these vulnerabilities before they become like big exposed issues that affect multiple organizations. But I'm glad to see that at least the USA, our government is trying to be proactive and get to the kind of root of it. Also, we've seen a lot of this coming from Russia. Um, it seems like they are not as concerned in Russia with these hackers affecting our companies, and as globally affecting a lot of companies. But I don't know, it seems like we have to it has to be more to be done, more that needs to be done to kind of like counteract this. It seems like it's getting out of control. We're hearing something new every day, every week, with some new businesses getting getting exposed, getting affected, and before you know, it's going to affect our personal lives. Maybe something that we're using, maybe one of our banking companies, or you know, one of our websites we go to, social media, things like that. And all of a sudden, you're going to start finding like, oh, this is down. This is down for X amount of hours or days because. And we already had an issue with the Keystone pipeline or whatever it was, and people were hunting for gas, and people were buying gas up, like it was never going to be supplied again. Um, so it's just one of those things, and I think it's obviously it seems like there's must be more that we can do to kind of counteract this. But you have some thoughts on this as well, Shannon? What you think?
So I do. The first thing I thought about, right? So like they even mentioned in the article how it was very similar to the Solar Winds attack, right?
Yeah.
And with the Solar Winds attack, remember when that happened? It was very observatory, right? Like they may have created some accounts or something like that. You know what I mean? That were sitting on networks, but they didn't do anything that was outright offensive. You know what I mean? Like they weren't going in there and taking stuff and demanding ransom. But so I was curious. I was like, so was that the warm up? You know what I mean? Was that the okay? Let's see if we could do this with the supply side attack, right? A supply chain attack. This is a warm up, and then they're like, okay, yeah, we know what we need to do now. Now let's go in there and get busy. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like
Right.
maybe that's what they were doing this whole time. You know what I mean? And like here's the thing, I like what the president is saying right now. You know what I mean? And he even said it to him back at the summit. Like, hey man, look, this is what's important to us, right? Which
Right.
people had a certain opinion on that, right? Like these are the 16 things we don't want you to touch. You know what I mean? Like if you touch them, we coming for you. And they need to believe that there are some offensive capabilities we have to where some people that may have been sleeping, they're gonna be busy now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, hey, we ain't playing this. Um
Right.
but something I had looked into another article on this, and I think it was Spider Labs or something like that was talking about how when they got reached out, when the company got reached out to, they were very good in updating like they needed to, and they were very responsive. You know what I
Right.
mean? Which is a good thing, right? That's what you want because I've talked about it before on the show. Public trust, right? Like if it's if it's one if it's 1 or 200 companies all on their own that aren't managed by somebody else, right? That don't have their IT infrastructure managed by somebody else, it's like okay, well they got them. But like when you start going after that hub, so to speak, that's like controlling all these different things, that's when it gets very worrisome. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Right.
But but no, we gotta see what comes of this, man. Like it, we talk about this, we talk about something like this every week now. You know what I mean? Which that keeps us talking, right? We got something to
Right.
deal with every week. You know what I mean? Which is a good thing. But this is one of those things where people need to start getting hip to the game. And especially when it comes to supply chain attacks now, right? Like this is twice now we've seen it to where it's been at least this time it's been more disruptive than it was the first time, which is more observatory. So we gotta keep trying to stay ahead of the bad guys, and you know what I mean. It's getting harder and harder.
That's very true. And they're just making more and more money. Like in the article on CNN, they asked just one company for 5 million. This has impacted over 120, 130 companies, all impacted. Like they can rack up hundreds of millions of dollars if people start paying. So don't pay. Like that is, I'm sure people have already paid. I'm sure money's already flowing in, but try not to pay if you can help it. Like again, like you said, it was a supply chain attack. So people were doing what they thought needed to be done with their patching and what have you, and then they got. Um, there's nothing that common people can do. It has to be baked into the software. If it's not baked in, then it's really not much that can be done until after the fact, after you've been hacked. Now Kaseya has to go in and make amends. But this is nothing that just regular tech and users could have prevented. They did what they're supposed to do, and they still they paid the consequences because of just poorly designed software. That's just what it makes down. What it breaks down to is just poorly designed software. Like that needs to be paramount from here on out. Like if anything, with all this money going into cybersecurity and what have you, they need to start also dumping money into just I don't know, application development, finding better software developers, better software engineers, just train them better. Because I get that we want to create and build as quickly as possible to get stuff out the door, but it seems to be that they're just not balancing it correctly. They're leaning more towards getting out the door than they are to getting it being protected.
And I know,
Because these dudes are smart.
yeah, I know LeVon brought it up. I don't remember if it was the last episode we did or the episode before that. I was talking about DevSecOps, right? Like
Mhm.
this is where it applies. You know what I mean? This is where it's the whole bacon thing you're talking about. Get
Right.
it from the beginning. Don't make it an attachment at the end. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is what we need to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to think about that security integrating, like you're just saying, integrating it from the get go. Don't think about it later on during when it's finished. Finally got everything put together. Okay, now let's put some security onto it. Like it should be like integrated in as you're developing it. It should be pieces like, oh, this has an authentication piece. Now we got to have security to make sure that it's not accessible to the user in some sort of
Right.
backdoor method. You got to think about those things. Make sure it's locked down as secure as it can be. And then I think that they should, if they're not already, like they should be, you know, providing your software to some sort of like some team that's going to kind of like try to
Yeah.
hack it, see,
Threat hunters, bug
threat hunt,
hunters,
yeah,
yeah,
bug hunters.
threat hunters, all that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly, because I know there's people out there. I know the government's paid people. They've like taken people out of prison to like, okay, you're going to become a bug hunter now. That you've compromised this network. Now we're going to pay you to protect other networks from doing what you did
Right.
before. So it's that kind of thing definitely exists. So we got to maybe we have to be more
That's how they got Leonardo DiCaprio, right?
right.
Got him out of prison.
That's right.
Yeah,
Tell us how you counterfeit all this stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Get him out of prison.
this is crazy. But
Yeah.
I think that doesn't necessarily pivot us to topic two, but like this is further development, right? So I can see this for the next couple of weeks. We're going to see how this falls apart, how the government steps in, what they do if Russia actually does something, which I doubt, because I mean they literally attacked everybody but you.
Right. Right.
So,
It's so
like,
crazy. Yeah.
they did you a solid.
Right.
Like we know where we live at. We're not going to attack ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's so yeah. I think that's really interesting too. Just the fact that it had like code written in, and they discovered a code that says, oh, if you have this language, Russia, Ukraine, Romanian, whatever, it's like we're not gonna hack you. Like we have the code designed not to touch those. It's so
yeah.
crazy. Like you think, I don't know, like even considering the fact that they are Russian that are doing these attacks, that they'd consider attacking other Russian sites as long as they can get some money out of it. Like if it
No,
didn't affect them,
it's
they just like,
national pride. Like we're all
right,
about
that's too
that
much pressure.
capitalism. Like U.S. hackers is like I'm attacking whoever.
Right,
Like
right.
give me
US
the
hackers like,
money.
I'll attack a US site and I'll attack Russia.
Nope,
Maybe
not
they're
Russia.
maybe they're just trying to get us to learn these different languages. Because if we start setting all our stuff to those default languages,
Right,
then they won't
right,
attack us, right? So maybe they're like, oh, you need to speak,
right,
Uzbekistan,
Right.
Turkestan,
right.
whatever.
Cyrillic
Yeah,
keyboard setup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right,
yeah.
right. We got to give a notice to our viewing audience that change your defaults to Russia and you will be secure.
Man,
It's like
it's
security stuff.
crazy out there. But yeah, so another attack. So that this week's been full of those, right? So
Yeah,
the iPhone attack. I gave this one to LeVon because he loves iPhone so much.
that's right. Yeah, I appreciate that actually. Yeah. So this one came from, looks like it's, the website is bestlifeonline.com. This was by Kaylee Coleman. And it's been the article is, if you see this on your iPhone, don't click it. Experts warn. And basically, the article goes into describing. Apparently, there's like a Wi-Fi hack that's been affecting iPhones in particular. I guess Google phones aren't affected because they're super secure, as we all know. But apparently, in iPhones, they have a bug or some sort of vulnerability where if you go to a Wi-Fi SSID, if you go to a hotspot that you see on your Wi-Fi settings, and it has like these percentage icons or percentage symbols in the SSID. It could potentially, like, at least this article describes it, completely disabling your Wi-Fi functionality. But I think it also kind of hints at the fact that they may be able to compromise and be able to access your phone's like data, potentially if they use the right string of codes. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the kind of like SQL injection type attacks where they kind of put a certain bit of code in like in a box, that corresponds to like a search feature in the on the back end. But this vulnerability can potentially affect, I guess affects pretty much all iPhones as far as I've seen in the article. I don't think there's any particular models that are excluded from the vulnerability, but essentially they go on to talk about, um, obviously being a regular citizen, you go out in the world and you see a hotspot, you go into the airport or something like that. In particular, if you see ones with the percentage symbols, it's kind of like it's a good warning, like not to click on that and not to use that point. But they're using these methods where they can potentially kind of mask those symbols within the code, within the hotspot name. Potentially, if there's like a second line within the Wi-Fi, they can, like, certain routers have options to put multiple lines in the Wi-Fi SSID. So they might be able to hide it by just putting it in the front line. That says, "Oh, welcome to airport Wi-Fi." The other one has like the special code that can use to kind of disable your Wi-Fi. So it's kind of like it's just kind of like a thing that I'm not really big into using hotspots. I mean, I use them occasionally, but I think if people are kind of safe and kind of identify, like if they're kind of known SSIDs, even though some people may be kind of crafty, they may try to copy the same SSID as the I don't know, the Starbucks or some place you go to.
Right.
They may use like a similar name, or maybe just like a character off or something like that. But it's really hard to avoid that. I mean, I tried my best not to use any public Wi-Fi hotspots, but I do on occasion, sometimes when I'm in an airport or someplace that's really like crappy service. But since I have a Google phone, I don't really have much to worry about. I mean, I'm part of the
they
cool
come for you.
kids.
They come for you too.
No, we're too locked down. We're too secure for that. But yeah, nonetheless, it's something that we have to be aware of. I mean, it's out there. I mean, they're always going to find some new method to get into our data. But do you guys have some thoughts on this?
Yeah, so we're a whole iPhone family, right? We got everything Apple you could think of at the crib. So now I have to break this down to the fam because I didn't see it until today, even though Shannon had put it. I think Shannon put it in there a few days ago. So I traveled with this, not knowing. Luckily, I don't attach myself to hotspots either, but they could have got me if I did. But I usually just because I travel frequently through the same airports. For some reason, I make this because they're major hubs, maybe. But when I show up and I'm already connected, and I'd be like, I should probably disable it. But in this case,
Right.
it kept me safe.
Yeah.
But if there had been, like you said, if there had been an evil twin out there or something like that, I could have got. So
Right.
you got to be more careful, especially stuff like this. Like so, I mean, really, I can only think of the only way to prevent or to save my family is tell them to not connect to any other hotspots until this is patched.
Right.
What about you, Shannon?
So like this is one of those things where I wouldn't have got hit up anyway because I never connect to anything outside of my house, to be honest with you, right? Like, so like for me, I'm the guy that when I walk into the back of Target, like I just won't have signal, you know what I mean? Like if they got
Right.
Wi-Fi in there, I'll be like, oh well, when I go to the
Oh,
front of
well.
the store again, I'll get signal again, you know what I mean? And we'll be good. But like
Right.
I and I've done that for years. Like even when I was on my Android, you know, it was the same way. I never automatically connected it or anything like that. There were a few locations where I was like, okay, I assume they're somewhat safe. Like if I was on base, like if you're in the hospital or something like that, or if you're in the MPF, you know what I mean? Like there was places like that. I'd be like, okay, I kind of trust that this is fine, right? Because there's guidelines they got to set all that stuff up with when they set their Wi-Fi on those locations. So I'm like, you know
I
what?
don't know though. I don't.
You're right though. No, I shouldn't assume like that, right?
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
I know the stigs that need to go into that. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
It says it'll be this, that, and the third. So like if they did it like they were supposed to, like it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
But
to
no,
play,
you're right.
yeah, I was gonna say to play devil's advocate though, like, I've always felt comfortable with it because I have a VPN, right? So I'm like, I don't care who's providing me the internet. Like if you want to look at trash because you can't read my stuff, then fine, just as long as you're getting me out to the internet. But this one causes damage, so it's like,
Right.
it
As soon as you connect, yeah.
doesn't matter
Yeah.
if I have VPN. You're still gonna disable my Wi-Fi in the future, which will be very annoying. So
So you bring up a good point. I need to get a VPN for my Apple phone now. Like that is something I used to do, but like
yeah,
since I've had my Apple since March, I got it.
yeah.
I think March,
I use
yeah.
Express.
I haven't
Like
got
they're not paying me. I wish they were, but I use Express VPN. You get 5 licenses for like I think it's like $12 a month. I only use a couple. Like you can put on your Xbox and everything.
So I need to look and see. I need to look and see if I can add it, because the one I have for my laptop, I get VPN with, right, and it's the same thing. I get 5.
Yeah, you can add it.
So like
Yep.
I need to for Apple.
Yeah, like, as long as they have an equivalent app on the Apple storefront.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I did was I downloaded the ExpressVPN app, and then it enables the feature within my iPhone. So like whenever I go to settings, it shows that my VPN is on, even when the app isn't up.
Yeah.
That was like the key to get me in there.
Yeah, I gotta look at that and install it on mine then.
But they should start paying us. Remember
Right.
this free plug, ExpressVPN.
I know, right? I was gonna give another small plug too, because I use NordVPN, which
Okay.
if they want to pay us as well, hey, shout out. But they got some good service because I was looking at the website, so I think when I signed up, it looks like it's $99 for the first 2 years. Like you get 2 years worth of coverage for
That's
99
not bad
bucks.
at all. Yeah.
It's like I guess they price it out like $3 per month, something like that. But then I got like as a member, they gave me like a random promotion. They said like spin the wheel for add additional months or additional years, and I actually won extra free 3 years on top of what I was already.
Oh wow.
So my thing's like expiring like 2006. So I have like 2026.
I was like,
So I
2006,
have
like LeVon.
2006. Yeah, it's too late.
It's too late. It's too late.
I'm getting in my DeLorean and going back in time so I can enjoy my VPN.
That's not bad though. That's a
Yeah,
real
it's
good deal.
really good. I think they have a pretty good price. I mean, and they're pretty top notch. I think as far as
Yeah.
they've been around for a while, and then people are like they have great reviews and all that kind of stuff. So I've never had a problem with them. But yeah, they need to start paying us if
Yeah,
they
don't
want
say
me to
don't hype
mention
them up
any-
too much. Like
yeah,
I need y'all
yeah,
to outprice ExpressVPN because they're gonna start paying us, right?
right. That's right. Yeah, we got to have a
Have y'all
competition.
battle it out.
I wanted to touch on Shannon's point. So I appreciate what you were saying, like, the military bases. I think we just have to be cautious because it's not necessarily like the military's like VPN, but perhaps some, not too savory military personnel decides, oh, let me go ahead and let me put a hotspot here, name it hospital, MD, whatever, hotspot or whatever, and then have you connect to it, and all of a sudden your iPhone's getting compromised. Because we love our military, but not 100% of them are good. So there can be some bad apples within the military, and they can be trying to compromise some devices out there too, just as well as a common civilian out there, walking around in the Starbucks or whatever.
No, that's
So,
very true. That's very true. I mean, the insider threat is always your biggest one, right?
yeah,
Like there's always that disgruntled airman that feels like I'm doing all the work, while these NCOs
right.
sit around and do nothing. I'm gonna show them, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
as,
yeah.
as they're on their way out the door in a week, you know what I mean?
That's right. That's true.
No, that's very true though, LeVon. It's very
Yeah.
true. But it's one of those things where if I'm going to an airport, like so what it comes down to is the amount of people that actually have access though, right? So like the amount of people that actually have access in an MPF, in a commissary, in a BX or whatever, compared to who travel through an airport though.
Right.
You know what
That's
I mean?
true.
And the thing is,
Yeah.
people in an airport, there's somebody that could camp out, you know what I mean, for a week, you know what I mean, and nobody noticed because everybody's more worried about I gotta make my layover or do whatever, right?
Yeah.
And people aren't really paying attention. But no, you bring up a good point, man. Like it could be an insider threat that just gets disgruntled on their way out from their dishonorable discharge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Although
Right.
you would think you would cut their accounts off once they get in trouble, right? Like, hey, get
Right.
rid of everything.
Yeah, and I'm like, and I want to make sure I'm clear too, because I'm not necessarily just like somebody that's actually working there, but even somebody that's like, just passing through, like going through the hospital or something like that, and they stand up like their own personal like hotspot, kind of thing, so you can connect to it and they can grab your like data, but. Like at the same time, like insider threat, somebody actually works there at that location, and then they decided, oh, let me go ahead and change something on the Wi-Fi that everybody uses. That's actually legit Wi-Fi. Let me go ahead and put like a capture card or something that like capturing this traffic as it comes through. But nonetheless, yeah. Either way, like somebody's inside, somebody's like just walking around, and they have they're using their phone as a hotspot, and they have some application on there that tracks whoever's connected and pulls some data out of their phone or device. That's definitely a possibility. But nonetheless, like you said though, I definitely feel better at like a military location compared to like you said, is millions of people that are going through the airport. Anybody can go through the airport, but not everybody has access to the commissary, to the to the hospital on base and things like that. So
Yeah, it's always that balance, right? So like again,
Yeah.
like that's why it was so cool to having a VPN. It's like I was connected to anything, but
Yeah.
like this will literally cause me to not be able to connect to anything.
Right. Right.
So it's more like they said that it could also be used maybe in the future do a SQL injection or some cross-site scripting or something of that nature, hijack your browser. But it seems to be mostly just damage. So definitely don't connect to anything you're not tracking as being good. So that's pretty much anything. So if you can
Right.
help it,
Right.
don't connect to anything. Um, but yeah, I thought that was interesting, and hopefully they patch that soon because it's been for a few days now, right? I think you got this to us earlier in the week, so hopefully Apple's
Yeah.
already pushing something out.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
they
due
got they
July
got
7th.
they got 15 coming out soon, right? iOS 15 is coming out soon. They might just tag it onto that. I
Yeah.
want to say. I thought I saw something with 15 coming out in July, but I could be wrong on that.
Oh, probably. Like so, always an update. Unlike those dirty Android users.
Mm. Mm.
Moving on. So,
Oh, we ain't got no Wi-Fi vulnerability though, that I know.
and it makes me more secure because I don't have any Wi-Fi. So
That's right.
it's a
Yeah, that's
feature.
trying to help
It's
you.
not a bug. It's a feature.
Right. They're trying to help you.
But so I'd be remiss if I forgot to bring this up this episode. So I shared it with you guys, and I want to bring it up. I cannot pronounce this gentleman's name, but I received an email stating that we were featured on the Feed Spot. It's kind of like a list of, uh, in this case, cybersecurity shows, podcasts, things of that nature. So it says top 40 cybersecurity podcasts you must follow in 2021. And this was completely unsolicited. I just received the email and I was scared to click it because I'm scared to click all emails. So I had to find my way to the site the other way around. And I found out we're on the list. We're number 19. So we made the top 20. So shout out to them. I cannot pronounce the gentleman's name, but I will definitely put his website in the description. And hopefully this brings more people to us. So they listen. So if you're listening right now, please like, share, subscribe, hit that bell, whatever have you. I always forget to say at the beginning, so I said in the middle. But moving on to the weekly rundown, because we got a lot to talk about. We've consumed a lot of stuff, and I got both of these bad boys in the house, so I play both systems.
Right. So people
So,
that can't see, that's a PS5
oh
and
yeah,
a
you're right. You're right.
Series S. Yeah.
they,
Series S
they
controller.
they can hear it through
Yeah, they
the
can hear it
audio.
though. You hear little joysticks moving.
Yeah. But yeah, so I had a chance to play both systems. But before we get into that, how was everybody's week?
Yeah, I can't complain. Mine's pretty good. I think I got some gaming in there. I'm like really at the very end of Yakuza 0.
Okay.
I'm like in the last couple chapters. But it's like wrapping up. I can feel like the ending coming up. And I've been playing a little bit of Doom Eternal. I've been playing
Okay.
that on the side. I
Gotcha.
finished like the first like level, but I'm enjoying that. I think I'm gonna hop back into that a little bit. It's more kind of like fast paced, like just shoot 'em up kind of thing.
What system are you
Uh,
playing it on?
Actually playing on I played a little bit on Series X, and then I hopped over to my PC to play on there a little bit.
Gotcha.
Just got wanted to see compare the graphics, and they had a new patch that released add like ray tracing and I think some other features um, to the game. So I kind of wanted to see the difference, but um, it looks good. It's like a fun game. It's like, I think it's one of the top rated games I think
Right.
recently. But I've been enjoying that, and I always play Destiny. That's just like a kind of a continuous game that I'm be playing. It's kind of like you build up your characters, and there's always some new stuff they release randomly. Um, but besides the games, we're watching some shows. I think we kind of both, all of us, kind of had a chance to watch a little bit of the Black Widow, and there's a few other things I watched as well. I watched there's some new Netflix series. It's called I think it's called like Fear Street 1994.
Oh yeah, I want to jump in that.
Uh,
That's based
yeah,
on the R.L. Stein books, right? But
is that what
uh,
it? Yeah, I
yeah,
actually had no idea, but I watched
but
the
yeah,
first one. Yeah.
yeah, because people were saying because it's rated R, so R.L. Stein is
Oh,
not. It's young adult, like maybe.
yeah,
I read those like eighth grade,
yeah.
but this one is like hard R. So
Oh,
everybody was
damn,
like, oh,
yeah,
okay, it's for
yeah,
us.
yeah. It definitely deserves an arc because it gets some like graphic stuff in there for sure.
Okay,
Some violent murders and stuff like that. Uh, I think it's pretty good. The first one I watched was really good. Second one has I started it, but I was like getting too tired, so I had to like shut it down. But that one looks really good too. Kind of like it goes from 1994, then goes back in time to like 78, I think it was.
oh, okay. I'm glad
Um,
I talked to you then, because I was going to watch in the wrong order. So
yeah. You got
now,
to watch the
okay, 94 is first. Gotcha.
yeah. Enjoy some of that, and then I think I've been watching some other things. I have to think about it for a little bit. But how about you guys? You guys had some interesting weeks. What you up to?
So yeah, so I got to play both consoles. Uh,
Nice.
I I want to rescue them because they're not being used properly. my son, my son's excuses are no games. So he's been playing the Series S a lot though, because he's
Oh
playing
damn.
the games he was playing before, right? They just look better now. But PS5, no love.
Oh damn.
So his birthday's coming up in a couple weeks, so I definitely want to get him some like maybe Ratchet and Clank or something, so you can actually experience it. But I was like, you didn't play the playroom? I was like, everybody talking about this playroom thing. So he was like, oh, the demo, no, I ain't touch it. So I played it. It's a full game. Like it's only
Yeah.
like maybe 4 hours if you try to platinum it or whatever. But I played the whole thing. It's amazing. Like this controller I'm holding up, the new DualSense is amazing. Like it's doing stuff with controllers I never felt before. Like
That's
when you
true.
turn to the rocket and you can feel
Right.
the
You can
pressure
feel
on
the
each trigger.
boosters and
Yeah, the
yeah.
booster on each side. I'm like, man, you are not living.
Right.
You've not playing this right. But
That's right.
true enough, there are no games though. Like he wouldn't play like what is it called? Dark
Like
Souls. That's just not for
yeah.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
or
Dark
Demon
Souls. Yeah.
Souls. I think
Demon
it's Dark
Souls. Yeah.
Souls though, right?
I thought it was
Uh
the demon one.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
Demon
You might
Souls,
be.
you're right. Yep, Demon
Yeah.
Souls. Demon Souls is the
Demon Souls.
original. Like that's not for him, right? So like he he plays 2K and things of that nature. So he's playing mostly on the Series S. So I give him a little bit of leeway. So I will leave both of these here. I won't take them back with me. And instead, I'll take the old gen back with me. I'll take the we got the
What you got?
1S,
Play.
and then we have the just de facto PS4. So I
Nice.
will recover those and take them back with me.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I watched first episode. I watched half of Loki. I didn't get a chance to finish it because we started recording. So far, I like what I've seen. So I'm gonna marathon the rest
Mm.
because I think that's about to wrap up. Right? It's only like another week.
Next week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
next week.
I think it's
So
the
I'll
finale.
marathon that. I'll go back and I'll watch Scarlet Witch and Captain America. So I'll get all those under my belt.
Nice.
Oh, before we talk about Black Widow though, I wanted like speaking to Shannon. What you been doing all week?
So yeah, with never video games, right? Like I'm still on that current gen. You know what I mean? I
He's
can't hang
retired
with
from the
you guys.
game.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I had to bronze my controller and put it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
You salute it like,
yeah,
it's nice knowing you.
for you, sir. But no, I've been watching Loki actually. So like I was a little slow to get into it. I was probably about week. I might have started watching in week 2 or whatever, but then yeah, I'm all caught up through the first 5, and I like it actually. I did not think I would.
Oh, it must be
I,
real
I,
good then, because
I
you
actually
Right.
like it.
Right.
Yeah,
If Shannon likes it, dang.
yeah,
Shannon
yeah.
likes
You
it
know what I
was
mean? Like it's
Gotta be
good.
award winning.
Emmy winning TV
Yeah,
That's
series.
right.
it is good. I like it, and yeah, I saw Black Widow. So I did the premiere access for Black Widow, right? Like we stayed night.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We
So I went out. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I know
Yeah.
you and RJ went out and did what y'all need to do, but yeah, I was like, you know what, I can't. So like my youngest son is a little high risk and he can't get vaccinated, right? So I was like, I don't want to subject him to going into
Right.
a theater or anything like that. So I asked the family, I was like, hey, I want to do a movie night. I popped some popcorn, you know what I mean?
Nice.
Made some kettle corn, and we sat there and watched it. And so like so opinions, did y'all like Black Widow? I
Yeah.
like
ABC.
ABC?
ABC. Are we gonna do 1 through 10?
Like, okay.
Was everyone's
10?
easier for you?
10 is a good score, right? That's the
10
top.
being the highest. Yeah.
Let's see.
I'd give it a 9.
You give it a 9?
I'd give it a 9.
I
Oh
was gonna say,
wow.
I give it I think I give it 8 or 9.
Yeah, I'll say I'll get it. I give it a solid 8.
Yeah, I think
It was
the wife
it was
really
a
enjoyed.
B.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the wife would have probably given it a 10, probably.
Yeah, because
She would.
the action sequences were off the chain too, man. Like some of
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they really did.
like, woo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a part at the end, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
yeah.
put the sword in the I was like, yo,
It's
y'all are real.
true though.
You ain't even got no superpowers to do no jump like that, to just be
Right.
jumping out of
Right.
stuff. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
they fall in the sky, fighting in the sky. Like, what the hell?
like, wow.
Like, damn, y'all
Like,
got to worry about landing, right?
yeah, it was.
Right.
I liked it. The way
Yeah.
it told her story. I noticed when I was watching the movie though, some of the stuff they had in the trailer, like before COVID and whatnot, was not in the movie though, right? So like it seemed like
Oh,
they showed more parts of the red room, like her coming up and whatnot, that I didn't see in the movie.
Oh,
I
right.
could be misremembering, but I remember there being parts where they talked a little bit more about the red room and when she was in it,
mm.
showing, and I don't remember seeing that, but it didn't take away from the movie for me. You know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I
And
have
it
to
was
see the
funny.
That's
trailer
good.
It
again.
was comedic too. It was comedic
Yeah,
too.
Yeah,
Very
it's
funny.
funny throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
they did a good
Yeah,
job on that.
I think what the only thing part that hurt it for me, like again, because it was good. I thought it was good. The action was great. Acting was great. The new characters they showed were
Mhm.
great. It's like it just felt out of sequence. Like I get like they the timeline made sense.
Yeah.
I'm just like I wish y'all would have made this phase one, phase two. Like give her due
Oh, yeah.
before you give her fate. You know what I mean? Like that part. I
Mm,
just don't understand why they made this movie so late. Like I get COVID pushed it back a year, but this movie should have made 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
mm.
It's just like, why did you wait so long to make this movie? Like,
Yeah.
it was a good send off. I appreciate that, but they gave me hope. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right. Like maybe she's still alive.
Yeah, they're just like, nope, everything's the way we said it was gonna be. But
Right.
we want to give you
And
some backstory.
and another thing they did is they kind of tied in with some of the TV show stuff too,
Yeah,
right?
they
So
did.
like at the
They did.
end, they started tying into stuff that you'll see when you start watching
Right.
some of these
I
other
made a mistake. I googled it,
series.
so I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, because I didn't know it was part of the TV show. So I was like, where did it come from?
Yeah.
And they said, oh, it's in this show, and I was like, oh, dang.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was good. So I got a question though, and you guys will probably be able to tell me this better than what I know. Was not one of the villains, is that not a DC character though?
You talking about the Taskmaster?
Yes.
No, that's Marvel. I remember seeing Taskmaster. Taskmaster's never been a really prominent character, but like I remember him fighting Shield agents. I remember him fighting Spider-Man once. And
Hmm.
like his
What's the
whole thing
one?
is he's a mimic, right?
Yeah.
So no matter what you do, he's gonna best you.
Okay. All
Hmm.
right. Yeah, I was thinking, I
But
was like,
he's
Yeah,
even
I'm
in
not.
the new game. Like if you play the new Avengers MMO or whatever,
yeah.
Taskmaster is one of the villains. But it's always been a I don't want to spoil anything. Never mind. Well, I was listening.
You
Won't
know
spoil
what
nothing.
though? You not you say that he was in Spider Man, was he
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, he fought Spider-Man.
That's right.
I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
watching
yeah,
watching him fight Spider-Man. Yep.
yeah.
But
Hmm.
I always remember him just being like on level with like the toughest shield agent. You know what I mean? Like he's still a person.
Yeah.
Right.
But in this one, I thought he did. They made it fit very well. I thought he
Yeah.
did a good job with that. Because cause I didn't see it in the trailer. Like I don't know if I missed it, if it was never spoiled or what. But when I saw the character when they showed the visor, I was like, oh, that's Taskmaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, okay. But yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Like I just wish they had done it sooner. But what can you do? They'll be like doing well actually she's the only character that didn't get uh a real uh what's it called, origin story. Like they talked about it a little bit, but like Iron Man 1 was what I mean, like Doctor Strange,
Hmm.
Spider-Man, like these all every one of those were the origin stories. She's been fighting for 10 years.
Right.
It was
Iron
like,
Man 2, right?
now we'll give you the origin story. Yeah. She just
Yeah.
appeared, right? She was just in the hallway beating people up, doing the the thing her sister made fun of.
Yeah, the stance,
She land.
the pose.
It's funny.
It's
She was
so
like, why do you
funny.
do this?
Why do you do this? What is this here? Let me get into position. Like,
Yeah. No, it was I thought it was a 9. I would give it 9 out of 10.
yeah, yeah. I think maybe I give it a 9. Yeah, 9
I-
would be like a
Okay.
and
perfect.
look, Biz how I paid $30 for it. I'm damn sure gonna watch it
Yeah,
again.
you gonna make sure you like it. You like it
Oh,
even
yeah.
more now. It's like, oh, I paid 30
There's
bucks. So
a lot more value in that because I think for me and Junior I paid 24, which I mean we still got the big theater experience and whatnot, but I could live without that.
You wait a minute. You can live without that?
in these
Big-
times, yeah,
big-
I could live. I could give it a little
Oh
bit more time.
man, hey LeVon, I think we got a Manchurian candidate here.
right.
Man. Like,
But
that ain't Ryan talking right
yeah,
there.
I'm not gonna lie
Right,
though.
right.
When Eternals drops, I'm still gonna go to the theater. Probably see that too. But what I'm saying is,
Right.
I could live without it. If I couldn't get to the theaters, they can still keep dropping these movies
Right, right.
for home
On
theater.
stream.
Yeah, streaming.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
probably go see the next one in the theater too.
Right.
Like when the rocket hit at the very beginning, remember everything is calm and cool, and then boom, everybody in the
Mm.
theater jumped. Like, that's the only that's the experience you get from the theater.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is-
Like, oh,
we should have all saw it coming. None of us saw it coming.
Yeah. My wife jumped at the part where I don't know if I want to reveal too much, but when they talk to the father and they're singing the song and then right as the song, like the lights cut on, like when they're
Oh
inside
yeah,
the house, like
yeah.
right at that moment. I don't know if you remember that, but it's like right at that moment, like because it made like a noise, like when like a kind of dramatic noise when lights come on, like a chunk,
Yeah.
and it sounded like a gun or something like that. But that made my wife jump. But I think that was like the main part.
Yeah, but again, I thought it was good. I just wish,
Yeah.
but I mean, it kind of is what it is. At least they did it. You know what I mean? Because they could have just never did that movie. Because you know what I mean? Like she was already folded in character, and then we've already seen her fate in Endgame, right? So, but they gave me hope, and then they dashed it.
Right. Yeah. I almost expected her to show up at
I was
the
like,
end
whistle
there.
back, whistle back.
Yeah, that's what exactly what I thought too. Whistle with a return whistle.
Yeah. So I mean that's good that we cared about the character though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
as opposed to just being filler. Because I was thinking, I was like, could this have just been a TV show? But no, I think a movie did it better than a TV show would have done it.
But here's the thing though, right? So here's what you got to think about, right? So like watching Loki, I can't sit here and say that storyline is done with Black Widow. I can't sit here and say it. And you'll see this as you start going through. You'll be like, what? Like I could see it being, hey, something happened to where they didn't catch something or whatever, right? And then that's what that's where she could come back. But that's just me. Because the whole thing with Loki, like if you've seen the first half of the episode, you already know, right? Like it's we're 5 weeks in the TVA, right? Time Variance Authority, right? So like, what do they do? Like, what do they? They'll go into this a little bit more, and you'll see it. Like what they do to try to make the timeline stay as it is. Like they'll go into the way I see it is Marvel. They could make it work where she is not totally gone. That's my thinking.
It's true.
All right.
It's true.
I'm down. I'm down for all this multiverse madness stuff. I can't wait for the next Doctor Strange and Spider-Man movies. Like I'm ready to get to the weird stuff in Marvel. Like it's time. It's been a decade, so now we can take the training wheels off and just go into all the randomness that they be doing in comics.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely down. But no studying. I ain't hear nothing about no studying.
Nah. Nah. I need to. I say that every week, but I'm just like, I need to, man. I'm spending all this money to move these dates back. Like you move that test date, you got to pay for it. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
right.
You know, I'm already in triple digits and all the moves I made. So I'm like,
gotcha.
You know what I mean? But no, I did not. Work's just been crazy too, man. Like so, like. Doing the full days at work and like we are busy, like this stuff is just coming up, you know what I mean? And so like there's stuff to do there, and then when I come home, you know what I mean, I try to do all that stuff that people do on the weekends. I try to do it throughout the week so I can relax on the weekends, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And that's when I end up watching, Loki and Winter Soldier and all these movies and stuff like that, because throughout the week I don't really watch them too much, you know what I mean? Like I'll wake up early in the morning, like on the weekend, because everybody else is sleeping, and then I'll try to get some of these shows in and these movies in and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm not planning on staying for anything in the near future.
I was like, man, you vacationing? Like, what's he saying?
Right.
Not even when I get back.
Right.
Taking a break. I just tried to renew some stuff. I got to pay for my Seg Plus, Net Plus. Probably next couple weeks before, I mean, I don't want to get danger close and forget. And then I'm never taking the test again. It's never gonna happen again.
So I'm good.
Yeah, never again. I was gonna say, like, you should pick up a PS5, man. Like, I'm sure they're raining PS5s in Colorado. Like, you need to get one of these bad boys right here.
I don't know, man. Like, it's one of those things where I would look at different places, like, and I know LeVon was sending a couple times too, right? Like he'd be like, "Hey, man, look, they got consoles available," and I'm like, "Man, that's up in Denver. I ain't about to drive an hour and a half." It ain't that important to me, you know what I mean? If you tell me the Best Buy down the street, I'm like, all right, I'll make a trip, you know what I mean? But that joint was up in Denver. I was like, nah. And then when I went back to check later, it was like, nah, out of stock. I was like, yeah, that went fast. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because somebody took that drive. I know a person who drove up. I think he went to Pennsylvania to get his from West Virginia.
Mm,
He need
Yeah.
that Series X in his life, so he took that drive.
Wow.
not me.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Yeah.
waiting for one to fall in my lap.
Right. I'd wait for the convenience.
Right. But
No, I mean, I
that's the
imagine come
plan.
fall. Like when it comes to the issues with the chips and stuff like that, like I
Yeah.
imagine that will have blown over a little bit to where it'd be a little bit easier, right? And it'd be coming into the Christmas season. I was in was it Hobby Lobby, or I think it was Hobby Lobby last weekend with my wife, and they already got Christmas stuff out, man. Like
damn.
yeah, I kid you not, like they were starting to stock up like the aisles for like Christmas stuff. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man! Like
There's so
candy
many more
canes, stuff like that.
holidays.
Yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's not the most profitable one. Like we all know, like 50%
Right.
of retail sales get made, from like Black Friday to Christmas. You know what I mean? Like that's when they make their money. But I was just like, it is actually, was it July? It might have been July. Yeah, because it was coming. I think it was coming up on. It was the 4th of July weekend. I was like, we just got it in July.
That's crazy. That's like Alaska. Like when I lived in Alaska for the dividend. So
Yeah.
like I forget what time it hits during the year, but it's after Christmas. So it's second Christmas. So
Yeah.
you just see them start stocking the shelves. It's like, oh, dividend's about to drop.
Right.
Put this stuff up. You just see people
Dividends.
with carts full of this stuff. You just like,
Yeah.
You
yo,
about to benefit from that oil money.
man, that was
Damn.
years ago though. I don't know if they still get as much as they used to get. But like when I was there, one time we got 3,200 per dependent.
What?
Oh, it was glorious.
Independent.
Yeah,
Damn.
it was glorious.
Wow.
Glorious.
Yeah, I forget. I'd probably say most of it, but I'm sure I bought a thing or two for myself just because of how hard that one hit. But I mean, I was up there one time. It was like maybe 8 or 9 per person. It was still not bad, but it's not 3,200. So it just depends on how the year goes, how many people are in the state. You know what I mean? Things of that nature.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, I would suggest you pick one up at your leisure. Like when you see one in the store. 'Cause I've been seeing Series S's pop up in stores because I played around with it, and yes, there are no games yet, but they are coming. But everything this is the quality of life features. Like literally, I went to go play 2K with him, so I was sitting down getting ready for that 3 to 5 minute wait for the thing to load up. It was like boop, we're in the game. Like maybe 3 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. It's
Damn.
crazy how quick they move.
If I did, I would probably end up playing some of the stuff that I already have, right? Like so, like not the ones that I have, but I would probably have to. Do you have to repurchase like God of War or anything like that?
No,
Or
you
was
just
the one I
if you
had-
have it on disc, you just pop it in.
Yeah, so like I would have to. I do have that one on disc. I would pop it in and just see what the
Yeah. But if you had it digitally, you would just re-download it. But then that's the con with these systems. So like, yeah, you pop in your God of War 4K 60 is so it's going to play better than you remember it, look better than you remember it.
Yeah.
It's going to take up half your storage. Like the storage is no joke. This gen, like literally, he's already had to delete 2-3 games. Like I play it, I delete it. Like you just like it, and they. I don't know if it's just the internet's so much better here, so everything seems to be moving faster. But even it feels as though like the protocol and the antenna or the NIC or whatever is just faster, so he's able to download the games that much quicker.
Yeah.
But then they take up half the storage. Like I want to say it wasn't Call of Duty. It was what was it? It was something that from last gen that we're playing now, and it was like over 100 gigs. One game took up a fourth of the storage.
That's that Red Dead type,
Right? It's got to
Red
be
Dead
something like
Redemption 2 or something
yeah.
that's really big like that.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So I'm gonna have to buy him one of those expansions.
External drive.
Yeah, like well the memory card one, the one that plugs in, that's akin to the drive that's already inside of it. It's like
Gotcha.
it's like an SSD in card form. I'm gonna buy one of those for him, but not right now. You just keep deleting.
Right.
Costs the same as the console. Like, it's like $30.
Right.
So
You can, I know we talked about it before. If you're talking about the Series S, you can you can copy the games off, to like even like a pluggable, like regular standard external
Right.
USB drive, even external SSD or whatever. If it's a regular hard drive, you can copy your games over there, and you can copy them back if you want to play them later. If you need to, because you can play like old games, like you play the Xbox like One titles from that drive. But if you need to play like the new Series S, Series X, like titles, you have to play it from the drive itself,
Right.
or get that like that memory card that you were talking about,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
external
The very
drive.
expensive
Yeah, and like
part.
$200. Yeah,
Yeah. Is it 2 or 3?
it's 200. It's like
It's 200.
220.
Okay.
That's like the retail price, but you can find them a little
Still
bit
terrible,
cheaper.
but
Yeah, yeah, you can find them a little bit cheaper, but it's expensive. But
right.
I guess the whole thing, I mean, that's like that price is like that's the current standard for that type of drive, even like for a
Right.
computer. Like if you get like a 1 terabyte SSD, like NVMe like type drive, it costs $200.
Yeah. Yeah. They're definitely not ripping you off.
Yeah, yeah, they're charging
I
like
just,
retail, whatever
yeah,
it is.
I
But
just don't want to
it's
buy it.
crazy though. It's a lot of money though. It's like it
That's
costs
how you keep
like 2/3 of the cost of the console.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you keep them games loading up fast, though, right?
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You got
yeah,
the
Yeah.
SSD, like
Because even the controllers feel more expensive. Like I know the PS5 one, because I have to get him another one, right? Because he only has one. He had plenty of Xbox controllers because he had the Xbox already. But I think it's like $70 for the controller. So $70 for a game, $70 for a controller, and then I think the PS5 only has a terabyte, and you don't even get that. You get like 800 gigs usable or something like that.
well, yeah, I think it
Um,
actually starts at 800. It's because actually it's kind of funny. Sony gives it's like an 800 gig drive. It actually says it on the
oh,
box,
it
something like
starts at
that. But
8, and then
yeah, and then it's
okay,
like you get like 600 or so, I think,
oh
of
right,
actual usable.
yeah, because it's proprietary, right? So it's not a regular NVMe. It's whatever Sony came up, which is super quick. Like I'm not gonna
Yeah, yeah,
lie, like it loads everything ultra fast, as though like it doesn't. I can't really explain it. Like it's not like it doesn't have to really load anything. It's just like it's already here. Here you go.
yeah,
so
right.
with your Xbox, are you saying you can use the controllers from the past
Yes.
consoles?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
he's using one new one. That's this one right here, where you can see that this is bad for audio listeners, but the D-pad is different, right? So instead of being just a regular 4, it's got like the fighter style. We can
Yeah.
do the in betweens for like Street Fighter stuff like that. But it also has these grips on the back that feel really good. Like this controller feels a little bit better than a regular Xbox controller. Like same form factor and size, but like it feels like the texture is just grippy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they even
Um,
on triggers too. I think you put a little texture on there, I
Yeah, they have
think.
texture on triggers as well. But then
Yeah.
like the PS5 one is totally redesigned, which also feels great, and it also has good texture to it. And then those adaptive triggers are just crazy. Like pulling a bow and arrow, you can feel the tension. Like when you're
Right.
pulling the
Mm.
bow back, or like when I turn into a rocket ship, you can feel the thrusters independent in each trigger. So like they like tremble
Mhm.
as you're like it's wild.
Yeah.
Um, Hopefully people use that though. Like I'm sure it takes a lot of programming know-how. So
Yeah. That's the important thing, that make sure the developers
yeah,
actually take advantage.
if
'Cause
it's
that's
not being
it.
taken advantage of, yes, it's pointless.
But yeah, I think it's really good. I think it's like a big selling point for the PS5 is just that's a whole different like experience
Yeah,
with the controller. Especially, I mean, they kind of showed off in that game. I mean, I don't know a lot of other games that really take advantage of it, but I know they're coming. But
yeah.
the Astro's Playroom is really takes advantage of that, and you could blow into like the little
Oh yeah, the mic.
microphone area.
Yeah,
The fact that it has like a mic and speaker on the controller is kind of cool because you can hear different sound effects come from the controller, like when he's walking across like some
yeah.
glass or ice or whatever.
And it's not that
Kind of hear the
gimmicky. Like I thought it would
yeah.
be kind of gimmicky, but like literally, it's the because like the commercial is like, oh, it's the touch and the sound and all that stuff. You're just like whatever. But when you
Yeah.
actually do have it in your hand, like the sound in conjunction with just the little nuances to the touch, because of how just like detailed it is, it actually does give you a different type of experience. Like it makes it feel like things are moving, or textures are changing. Like you'll run across, like you said, different textures like snow
Mhm.
and glass and stuff like that, and you'll hear it in the controller, and it kind of immerses you a little bit more into the experience.
Mhm.
it's, it's
Yeah.
it's weird like that. Like you don't need headphones, you just have controller and just whatever sound bar or whatever you have really puts you into the game.
Right. And you actually have to work a little bit with the adaptive triggers. You actually have to pull on it a little bit. It's supposed to be like a lazy kind of like, you just like
Yeah,
tap the trigger. You actually got to kind of pull on it to actually like when you're doing like the spring mechanic or whatever, you have to like jump. Um, you have to actually pull on the triggers pretty hard,
yeah.
or else it's not going to function. But it's pretty cool. But I did look up the PlayStation 5. So the PlayStation 5 has an 825 gig hard drive, and then about 667, I think it said, yeah, percent is usable.
Terrible.
667 gigs
Yeah.
is usable. Yeah.
Luckily, he
So
has no games for it, so
yeah,
he hasn't hit he hasn't hit the storage cap yet.
yeah,
But the
yeah.
Xbox, he had plenty, right? Because you got Game Pass, so he has like a
Right.
ton of games that he plays. He just has to cycle through them, just like, oh, got to delete this one, got to play something different. So at some point,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get him some expansive storage, but the default hard drives are not big enough.
Yeah, I don't know why they did
Plain
that too. It
simple.
seems so weird. Like I thought the standard should be 1 terabyte. That's what Xbox Series X does, and I thought that would be what the PS5 does. Just put a terabyte in there instead of putting like 800 gigs. It's like just kind of like a random number. But
Mhm.
they don't like sell drives in that size. Like oh, I want to get
Right.
an 800 gig hard drive for my computer. We get a
Yeah.
terabyte, 500 gigs, or like 250 gigs, something like
Yeah,
that.
my assumption would have to do something with like because it's proprietary, right? So probably to get their money back on R&D as well as not bust the how much they cost?
Like
400,
500.
500 and not bust the
Yeah,
$500 metric. They had to do something to compromise, and that's what it was.
yeah,
Plus, there's no games, so
yeah, yeah. It's true. Yeah,
like, it's
right
like
now,
yeah, they won't hit the
yeah,
cap anytime soon.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and I remember I was mentioning that to you before too. It's like there's not like a lot of games that really taking. There's games that are getting like updated with like the higher frame rates and things like that. But
yeah,
it's not like really like dedicated PS5 game or Series X game that's like this is just made really for that console to just kind of really show off everything. But maybe I think a little bit later this year. I think with the Halo Infinite and stuff like that, I think it's really gonna kind of push some of the consoles a little bit. And obviously we have like Horizon. I think that's coming for the PS5 maybe in the
yeah,
next year.
yeah. So Ratchet and
Expecting
Clank and Horizon supposed to be this year.
yeah, Ratchet and Clank.
We'll
Yeah,
see. Yeah.
yeah, Ratchet and Clank.
And then next year's supposed to be God of War, and then whatever else. So I'm excited. Like
Yeah,
hopefully by that time I'll have my own because I'm pretty much giving up the ghost on this account and everything to do with it. It belongs to the kids now. So they
that's
got
right.
trophies I didn't put games I never played before. I'm just like decades of work gone out the window. They just have it. You got
Yeah,
Robux and V-Bucks tied to it. It's yours. It's fine.
yeah,
I'll start a new
yeah.
account.
Right, right.
Like it's all good. But I think that brings us to a good conclusion. So hopefully listeners are enjoying this. Like this is going to be it for the next few weeks. So it's kind of retro. You can call it going back in time. Um, but for the next 4 weeks, we'll just keep it to about an hour. We'll 2 topics in the rundown and go from there. And then when I get back to overseas, we'll go back to the regular schedule, the regular declar schedule. Um, thank you, Shannon. Thank you, LeVon. Thank you to all those who are listening. Thank you to the feed spot for featuring us. Hopefully that brings some more people in. Thank you to all those who have continued to listen to us. Please hit up the website www.theothersideofthefirewall.com, as well as our social medias, which will all be listed in the description. You can hit me up personally at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, TikTok, and Twitter. And what about you, LeVon?
Hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. Y'all take care.
Take care.